So don't get me wrong, we live in the best country in the world, right? But there's a couple things that kind of complicate our life. Now, with a little practice, it's no big deal at all. But it can come back and bite you in the rear, like it's a bit some NASA dude, right? He really screwed up their we paid for it, $125 million orbiter around Mars in 1999. But what I'm talking about is we as Americans go from here to Austin. We say it's about 70 miles. The rest of the world would have the unit as what? Kilometers. The rest of the world. Even Britain, right? You fill up your tire with some pressure. PSI. All right? Pounds per square inch. The rest of the world, does anybody know? I've never filled up my tire in Britain. What those Brits say. It's either going to say pascals. It might say pascals. I bet you it does. PA. Because some of our tires say PA on it. KPA, kilopascals. I bet you it's pascals. We measure mass. And does anybody know what our unit of mass is? No. Slugs. Did you ever even hear of that? Slugs. The rest of the world? No. Grams. Power. Horsepower. HP. The rest of the world? Watts. Right? So it can cause some problems, but we just got to know how to make those conversions. Okay, and that's one of the big things we're going to mess with today. But it's also important. So let's say even if that guy did that conversion right, he has to watch his sig figs, right, in doing that mathematical conversion. Otherwise, that could cause just as much problem as screwing up the conversion. Okay. So to go from watts to horsepower or slugs to grams, we need a conversion factor. What would be an example, Brianna, of a conversion factor? What am I shooting for here? Yeah, I guess. I think you're right. It would be an equation. Because we have to convert like slugs to grams or something, right? But let's do one that we're familiar with. Inches in a foot. How many inches in a foot? Where's Brianna? 12, right? So that would be an example of but when we say conversion a factor, what's a factor? A factor is not an equation, though. A factor is something you do what?
It's the factor that equals to 1 of the...
Yeah. It's oh man, she's ahead of us. All these conversion factors equal 1, but it's something that you multiply by. If you multiply by 1 all the time, you're not going to change the measurement, which is a really big deal. Someone went through a lot of work to make these measurements. You can't be changing them. But we can convert from one set of units to the other by effectively multiplying by 1. Now, how would you multiply by 1? 12 inches equals 1 foot. Well, if we divided both sides by 1 foot, for example, that would be 12 inches over 1 foot equals 1. All right? Here, this is an example of a conversion factor. We would use this conversion factor to convert feet to inches or inches to feet. Adelpho. Where's Adelpho? Would you use this to convert inches to feet or feet to inches? There's a trick to it. Does anybody see it? Feet to inches. How do you know? The bottom is going to get crossed out. That's what we're going to be doing all day today, crossing out the bottom. You see that? You're going to have, 36 feet. How many inches is that? Well, if you pick the right conversion factor, here it is. And conversion factor is supposed to multiply by 12 inches, 1 foot. See what she said? The bottom cancels out. So multiply 36 times 12, and that's how many inches there are. Okay? So this is what we're going to be doing a lot. Except our problems are going to be a lot more than one step, I'm sure. Because a lot of these, one step, sometimes you can do it in your head. But that's the idea. So another conversion factor would be 1 foot over 12 inches. Right? Because we could have, right, divided both sides by 12 inches and got 1. There's a bunch of conversion factors. There's 2.54 centimeters in 1, does anybody know? Inch. Okay. There's, what's another one that's kind of weird? I'm trying to think calories to, I don't remember. See, because all these conversion factors, I give them to you, right? And they're all on these tables and on the top of the quiz, and if you need them, you look at them. Except the ones I'm not going to give you are the ones that you already know. There's 100 centimeters in 1 meter, right? The deci one, not 10. There's 10 decimeters in 1 meter. Let's see. Oh, you got to know the milli one. 1,000 millis in 1 meter. And there's one left that you have to know. The kilo. Now, where's 1,000 go? On the other side with the meters. 1,000 meters. So you can write each of these equations, you're right, as a conversion factor. 1,000 meters per kilometer. 1,000 millimeters per meter, right? 1 meter per 1,000 millimeters. And you do just what she said. That's how you write it to make sure the units cancel. That's how you pick them out. Okay. But all these conversion factors are equal to, that's the right one, 1. Right? Just to remind you, make this guy into a conversion factor. Well, there's 1 kilometer for every 1,000 meters, right? How do we get it? We just divided both sides by 1,000. So that means it has to equal 1, right? In that equation, if you do that, it would have to equal 1 if you divide both sides by 1,000. So they all equal 1. Okay, so just looking around what you guys are drinking, I see Gatorade. All right, let's use Gatorade, but we have to know how much it costs. How much does Gatorade cost? A case of it. Does anybody know? $3.60. sounds really good. Okay, let's use that. Okay, to drink Gatorade. Okay, and you said it costs $3.67. All right, now that equals, that's 1 case, right? Or 1 6-pack or 12-pack or something. It's what? No way, 1 bottle? That costs $3.67? Oh, you got to get off campus. No, we're going to shop off campus. Really? Man, see, I got to shop more often. Okay, let's just say it's 6. It'd be better if we actually knew. No one has a phone to Google this at Walmart or something? Yeah? What is it? See, the wife just got a job, so I am gonna start doing all this shopping, but I haven't started. I don't care. It's how much a case, or a 12-pack, or yeah, they should be less than $1 a piece. Or something we know. How about soda? A case of soda. Anybody know how much a case of soda is? A 12-pack. About $6? Nobody knows.
No, it's not. That's way too. Nobody would buy soda. I think that.
All right, how much is water?
Like $3 for 24-pack.
Oh, really? Okay, let's drink water. Water's healthier anyway, right? Oh, thanks. Okay, an 8-pack is $4.98.
Where are y'all buying water at?
Whoop, equals 1 pack. Now, let me write pack. And you said that's an 8-pack, right? So 1 pack, I have to say, equals 8. Okay. So what we need is erase. Let's write the question. What conversion factors are necessary to calculate the amount of money an average OLU student would spend on? Now you have to go to Walmart and get this stuff cheap, right? And to spend on Gatorade per semester. Whoop, Gatorade's supposed to go down here. Okay. So let me get you started here. We're going to convert one semester, so you can see the question, all the way to money. All right? Now you can put a little times, a little X for times. I like using boxes because it clearly shows what's on top and what's on bottom. Okay? And before we start writing conversion factors, let me show you the rules of the game here. Pretty much whatever unit is up on top has to go where? Otherwise it's not going to cancel. Has to go on the bottom. You have no choice. So we're going to need, otherwise it's not going to cancel. We're going to need a conversion factor to get us out of semesters. And we got to keep going until we end up in money. One thing so what conversion factors would we need to solve this? Yeah, there's 8 Gatorades in 1 pack. 8 Gatorades. That's good. 8 Gatorades in 1 pack.
So would we need the cost of 1 Gatorade?
Well, we kind of would, but
You're gonna need the price.
we'll get it out of this.
We need to get the price for 1 Gatorade.
Yeah, I think we'll get the price for 1 Gatorade. But start here. Because I guess what I'm saying is to get from point A to point B with the least effort and the least time and energy and effort, just only get the factors that you need. Because you're right, figuring out the cost of Gatorade for each one, it might be useful, but it might not. Let's just start with semester and think about how you got to get into money. So with semester, how many what per semester? Yeah, how many weeks in a semester? I guess what we're getting down to is how many you drink per day. We're kind of missing that. But we skipped that one. How many weeks in a semester? 16. Yeah, including finals week. 16 weeks. And how many are we going to drink per day? God, how many would you drink per day? 2. 2? Okay. 2 Gatorades per day. Now, if you're in a sport, it might be more than that, but 2 Gatorades per day. What's that? It looks like it. But, yeah, we need weeks to days. How many? 7 days. All right, how many weeks in a day? All right. Well, let's just get going. Let's just start. And maybe we'll see the missing ones that we need. So what are we going to put up here first? 16 weeks. So we don't have much choice, right? You're looking up here. There's not much choice. So let's put 16 weeks. And right away we can cancel out semester. If we quit now, our answer is weeks. Well, we want money, so we keep going. Yeah, so the next one would be 1 week, 7 days. You see where this is going? 1 week, 7 days. And then I bet you it's going to be this one, 2 Gatorades in a day. All right, maybe you can see the whole end here. Let's see, 1 week, 7 days. All right. Then everybody, you'd put 8 Gatorades in 1 pack. Well, we might, don't skip, have the day in the bottom. Because you're right, I'm 2 Gatorades in 1 day. And make sure the day is on the bottom. Okay, now I think someone said it. Now we need
The price?
yeah. Because if you skip this guy, you may write him in the wrong way, top or bottom, right? So this way it tells you that 8 has to go on the bottom, right? So don't skip them. 8 Gatorades, 1 pack. Oh. Okay, now there's only 1 left, right? That 1 pack is $4.98. Okay, now how do you do this on your calculator? Everything on top you what? Multiply. Everything on bottom you divide. Does the order matter? No. 3 times 2 is 2 times 3. It doesn't matter. So take 16, right? So you don't miss anything. What I would do is I'd take 16 times 7 times 2, divide by 8, times 498, all right? And you can kind of check to make sure this is going to work too. Oh, thank you. Gatorades cancel, packs cancel, everything but money cancels. What'd you get? Really, that much? Wow, 139 bucks. I guess it's not that big of a price to pay. I mean, think of 1 book is like a lot more than that. All right. Okay. That's if you go to Walmart. We should have done the whole thing for the calf. Oh my gosh. Right? It'd be a chunkier tuition. Okay. But this is the game we're playing today. Okay? I guess we should draw a box around it after all that work. Okay. So you have practice sheet 1 and practice sheet 2. Let's play around with those. Let's take a look at practice sheet 1 first. Perform each of the below conversions, but to the correct number of sig figs. All that means is, well, we're going to convert 7.89 grams to kilograms, but report your answer to the right number of sig figs. All you do is look at the initial measurement and report your answer the same digits as that initial measurement. It doesn't matter what you're doing to it. So we're going to start out with 7.89 grams and end up in kilograms. Notice there's nothing written on top. I'm not giving you any conversion factors at all. So all these metric ones you have to know. You have to know all these. 1,000 millimeters in a meter, that kind of thing. Okay. So when we finally do get our answer, we're going to report it to how many sig figs, though? 3. Right? Okay. We know the gram unit has to go on the bottom. Otherwise it won't cancel. What's the conversion factor? 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. Exactly. Got it. So this is just a one-step one. Okay. So 7.89 divided by 1,000. We can move the decimal place over 3 places. Shouldn't that be 0.007? Did you get 0.00789? I can never do stuff in my head. Right? Now you have to report it to 3 sig figs. Is that okay? Can we leave it like this? Yeah, you can. If you're not comfortable with it, always, always, always write it in scientific notation. If you're not sure you're reporting your answer to 3 sig figs, just write in scientific notation. It'd be 7.89 times 10 to the negative 3. And then it's clear as day that there's 3 sig figs. Yeah? No, that's good. Doctor, sir, Mr., hey. Oh, that's even easier, right? In fact, I think you can set those calculators so it does automatically put it in scientific notation or it doesn't. If you have it set up so it automatically does, it's going to save you time. Otherwise, you've got to be counting, right, zeros and stuff and moving stuff over. Now, if it does do it in scientific notation, it kicks it out, what does it look like? Doesn't it have a little... Oh, okay, thanks. I'm glad you showed me this. Okay, so if it does put in scientific notation, this is what it's doing. 7.89 with a little negative 03. That's what it's saying. Thanks. That is 7.89 times 10 to the negative 3. Okay. On the calculator. Okay, let's try 0.0678 kilometers to meters. Okay, Desiree, what conversion factor should we use to get to where we want to go? 1,000 meters in a kilometer. And the 1,000 is going to go on the top or the bottom? The top. All right, so a little over 3 places. 1, 2, 3. I see 67.8. That's what I get. And that's, you can leave it like that or write into scientific notation. It's got 3 sig figs just looking at it. So it's clear. I like this next one because we have to figure out how to put this in the calculator. 6.80 times 10 to the negative 2 ms. What's ms? Milliseconds. We want to end up in seconds. Jessica Perez. Yeah. What conversion factor? Yep. Which is 1,000. And the milliseconds has to be down here. Okay, now we can help each other out here. Now you really don't have to do this. You could just move the decimal place over 2 and plug in 0.0680, but that defeats the purpose of this. Because some of these are going to get a lot worse. So let's figure out how to write this in the calculator. So first, let's clear the thing, but 6.80. First, just do that, 6.80. Now there is a 10 to the x. It's shift, but don't use it, because then you're always off by 10. So instead, this is the one thing that, well, this is why it's $6, I guess. Instead of EXP, it should have a little times 10 button, right? That you're putting in the exponent there. So you push EXP. Now those little 2 zeros popped up. So if it's times 10 to the negative 2, right, you push the little plus minus doohickey and the 2. And then if you look really, really close, it says 6.80, the little minus 02. Did you get it? That is 6.8 times 10 negative 2 in the calculator. So I did the 6.80 EXP for this. And now it's waiting for you to plug in the exponent. And now we have to divide by 1,000. Hopefully you got 6.8 times 10 to the negative 5. And you're ready to put a box around it and quit, but I don't know if you notice, you can get a point off. What's wrong? Sig figs. The calculator's not going to keep track of this stuff for you. How many sig figs were here? 3. So you better report 3. That means we need the 0 in there. Okay. So I think you get the idea here. Let's try some that are getting a little uglier. Maybe multi-step. Oh, the answers are down the bottom. Isn't that nice? Do you have the answers on yours? Oh. Here, I'll give you some time. Scribble them down. Can you see them? Number 1 is 7.89 times 10 to the negative 3 kilograms. 1 is 7.89 times 10 to the negative 3 kilograms. 2 is 67.8 meters. 67.8 meters. 3 is 6.80 times 10 to the negative 5 seconds. 6.80 times 10 to the negative 5 seconds. 4 is 1.801 times 10 to the 3rd centimeters. 1.801 times 10 to the 3rd centimeters. 5 is 5.20 times 10 to the negative 3 kilograms. 5.20 times 10 to the negative 3 kilograms. 6 is 1.100 millimeters. 1.100 millimeters. 7 is 1.80002 times 10 to the negative 3 kiloliters. 1.80002 times 10 to the negative 3 kiloliters. And 8 is 1.0 times 10 to the 2 milligrams. 1.0 times 10 to the 2 milligrams. Okay. Let's do that last one. Right? Let's do the last one. Let's do number 8. See if you can figure it out. Because it's multi-step for sure. Unless you memorize kilograms and milligrams. I didn't. I'd have to go from kilograms into grams, and then go from grams into milligrams. That's how I'd have to do it. Even to this day. How many milligrams in a kilogram? Jacqueline, what did you use as your first conversion factor? Good. 1,000 kilograms to 1 gram. And then Maria Gutierrez, what did you do? Anybody help her? What, did you say? I couldn't hear you. Oh, okay. Did anybody help her? What did you do next? 1,000 grams in a milligram. Oh, sorry, not 1,000 grams. 1,000 milligrams in a gram. So I'm going to have to put that up here, aren't I? Yep. Oh, jeez. Yes. Sorry. Milligrams in 1 gram. I don't know if you've noticed, but where did we write them all down? That number always goes with the prefix, except kilo. Do you notice that? It's 100 centis, 10 decis, 1,000 millis. The only difference is this one. The number doesn't go with the prefix of kilo. Okay. All right, so what do we have to do here? Take 0.0001 times 1,000 times 1,000. Okay, I get 100. All right. But we need to report our answer to how many sig figs? 2. That's why they had to write it this way. 1.0 times 10 to the 2 milligrams. That's why they had to write it this way. All right, let's take a look at practice sheet 2. Now, look at the top. You have I'm giving you all the conversion factors you need, except the ones that are missing are all those metric ones, right? 100 centimeters in a meter, that kind of stuff. So you need to know those. So let's start at the very top. And they still want you to do the sig fig thing. So you look at the beginning initial measurement, report your answer to the same number of digits. See if you can figure out this first one. Start out with the 6 feet and try to end up in centimeters. And just ask if you're not sure what's going on here. Because this stuff is doable. You don't want to start falling behind. So let me help you. So remember your first conversion factor, you have to find something with feet and make sure you put the FT in the bottom, otherwise it won't cancel. And keep playing around till you end up in centimeters. Okay, anything on top, multiply. Anything on bottom, divide. So it's just going to be that one times that times that. That's it. There's nothing to divide by. I guess technically you could say 6 times 12, divide by 1, times 2.4, 5.4, divide by 1, but it doesn't do anything.
So like on this one, you would multiply to the top.
Yeah, just multiply through the top. Nothing to divide by. Where is it? There it is. All right, hopefully. 6 times 12 times 2.54, about 182.88. That's way too many sig figs. Yvette, what did you report your final answer as? Yeah, 183. That's what I would do too. And you can do scientific notation if you want. 1.83 times 10 to the 2. Yes. Oh, yeah, just make it really clear. Just make it really clear. Okay. I think you just push AC. If you type in something wrong, you just push C and type in the new number. If you want to start all over, push AC. Okay. Yeah. Yards to millimeters. All right, let's try. Yes, 183 or 182.88 in the end. 6 times 12 times 2.54. Try the next one. If you got number 1, try number 2. Does it work? Okay, let me watch you plug it in. Oh, you're doing 4 or 5. It's 5.4. Oh, yeah, there it is. It was staring at me in the face. So try to get number 2, and then I want you to jump all the way down and do number 8. Because if you can do 8, man, you can do anything that I'm going to throw at you on the quiz. There's a trick to doing 8, but you can probably figure it out. Not sure. I would just cancel, make sure everything cancels so you end up in, what do I want, millimeters. Does it work? If everything cancels, it's got to work. Yep, it has to work. So everything on top multiply, bottom divide, you'll have it. Okay, 1 yard, 3 feet. Yeah, it's good so far. So we've got to keep going here. Where's the feet? Yeah, maybe before we write it down, let's see if we can figure it out. We'll go into inches, and then go into centimeters. Oh, and then you have to memorize it. Centimeters to meters, and then meters to millimeters. Yep. So you should report it to only 2 sig figs. Yeah. Oh, you got to round it because it's a 6. So it'd be 2.6. Okay, but you have to have only 2 sig figs, though. So you have to write in scientific notation with 2 sig figs. So scientific notation would be 2.56032 times 10 to the 3, but rounded up, so it'd just be 2. Well, it's a 6 though. 2. Well, no, the 5 rounds up to a 6 because because that's 5 or bigger. So if you get 2, see if you can mess with 8. So did you get 2.6 times 10 to the negative 3 for this one? Yeah, because I think it has to round up. Right? Is that right? Okay. So hopefully you got that. Now let's see if I can show you the trick if you haven't figured it out for number 8. The trick is just this. 15.0 kilometers. You do that box thing and just put the hour on the bottom. That, to me, is the trick. And then you can see how to cancel stuff, right? To get rid of that hour, you want that hour to end up in seconds. So H has to go up there for hours. What could we do? An hour is, I guess we're supposed to know it. An hour is like 60 minutes, right? And then put the minute where? Up on top, and then put what on the bottom? 60 seconds. So if we quit right now, we would be in kilometers per second, right? Because the hours are gone, the minutes are gone, and we're in seconds. If we quit right now. But they want us to go all the way to centimeters per second. So we got to keep going. Okay, so my kilometer has to go on the bottom. Let's see, kilometers. I don't know kilometers to centimeters. I know kilometers into meters. And then meter has to go on the bottom, right? 100 centimeters. Now, you should probably check this. My hours are canceling out, so I end up in seconds. My kilometers, meters, yeah, I'm end up in centimeters per second. So everything on top, multiply. Anything on the bottom, divide by it. Report your answer to 3 sig figs. Let's see what you get. You got 416? I guess we need more digits, though, because we need to report it to 3 sig figs. I got 4 ones. I'm going to write everything out. 416.666, right? And you have to report your answer to 3 sig figs, because that's 0. It's 15.0. So your answer would be 417. 417. You have to round up. Okay, it's a 3-day weekend, and I gave you, oh, isn't that nice? 3-day weekend, I gave you a practice sheet 1 for 1 day, practice sheet 2 for another, and practice sheet 3. Yeah. Uh-huh, okay.
All right, so I'm not getting the multiplying. I don't know.
Oh, you have to use the calculator for this class.
Okay.
Let me get you one.
I didn't use it for the quiz, but I heard you say it.
Yeah, that's okay. Let me get you one.